It's been about 3 months since Sacramento shut down a large tent city of homeless people. Many of the people who were forced to leave say they're like refugees with no place to go. Yesterday, they staged a loud demonstration. They hope to pressure Sacramento officials to find them a new place to camp. NPR's Richard Gonzales reports.
Ever since the tent city closed, 45-year-old Philip Grice has been on the move. He's a carpenter by trade, long hair, tobacco-stained teeth. He wears a T-shirt that reads, "Where am I supposed to live?"
When we moved over to a private area, 2 fields over. They wanted us off of there too. Just like shuffling cattle. That's all it is.
Hi, what's your name?
We're supposed to be the eyesore, but actually we're citizens and we're human beings. We're supposed to have rights like everybody else. It don't matter what we got in our pockets.
Grice joined about 250 other homeless people and their supporters for a march through the northern end of Sacramento. Their action coincided with the closure this week of a temporary shelter where many of the tent city residents had found a roof for the winter. Now they say they need a year-round legal camp on what they call safe ground. One marcher is a 43-year-old single father and disabled brick mason, Rodney Frazier.
A lot of these people are out here, brick masons, they're tile setters, they're dentists. They had some very nice jobs. They contribute to the world, to the society, and they had a downfall in life. They need help getting up.
The march ended up in a hot, dusty, city-owned lot next to a police station where organizers set up a symbolic occupation.
Somebody else want to jump in here with the other side? Goes cross pole here. All right. We've been doing this for a long time. All right, brother. I live in one. Okay.
Val John Ferris, founder of a group called I Care America, immediately set up a tent. He's a fit man with a bandana covered with the stars and stripes.
What's important is that there's no legal place for people to live unless they own, rent, or are leasing a home. So if you're homeless, it's illegal to exist. You can't even lay your head anywhere without getting arrested or prosecuted or criminalized. So this is a demonstration in order to create a civil liberty that ought to already exist, which is that people have the right to live without the threat of being incarcerated in their own country.
Sacramento police officer Mark Zula says a legal campground makes sense to him. He's been on the homeless beat for the past decade.
So you need something for that immediate need. I like the winter shelter. I'm not saying that's the best answer in the world necessarily, but at least it gives you a choice. And that's now closed. So everyone using it is now out. And that leaves, for the minute, nothing. Nothing is never the answer.
The idea of a safe ground for homeless campers divides officials in City Hall. The mayor, Kevin Johnson, has been receptive, but others, including the city manager, Ray Carriage, is not. There's also a disagreement over how much it will cost at a time when the city and county are already slashing basic services. What's not at dispute is the fact that this week, Sacramento has 200 more people with no place to sleep. Richard Gonzales, NPR News, Sacramento.
To walk any distances, and if I sit down on these curbs around here, get a rest, to wipe the sweat off my head, I could expect a cop to roll up on me and cite me for loitering. I laid in front of the mission for weeks,
We'll report next on people who no longer have any home to lose. For as long as anybody can remember, the banks of the American River in Sacramento, California, have been home to drifters. But widespread layoffs, home foreclosures, and a deepening recession have created something new. A sprawling tent city of homeless people on the American River. As NPR's Richard Gonzales reports, it emerged in the shadow of California's state capitol.
On the northern edge of downtown Sacramento, next to the train tracks, there's a campground spread over the area of several football fields. Small groups of homeless people have pitched tents here over the past year. But social worker Jim Peck, who works at a nearby soup kitchen, says now he's seeing new faces.
And that's been very recent, and you can tell it simply because they're much better dressed. They're disoriented, they don't know what they're doing, so they're pretty easy to spot.
Take 53-year-old Dave Kutch. Dark hair, glasses, medium build. His clothes suggest a suburban hiker, except that he's standing in a muddy patch in front of a tent he's called home for the past 2 months.
I'm a welder, right? So the company I'm working for, I get laid off. I qualified for unemployment, 24 weeks. My car's paid off, my truck's paid off, my bike's paid off, everything except for my house payment, right? But I feel like I'm still going to be able to pull out of it.
That was about a year ago back in Colorado. Kutch says months went by without work. He lost the house, his car was stolen, his savings ran out. So this past August, he took up a friend's invitation to come to California. That hasn't worked out either.
Trying to get back on my feet, you know. Daily I still go out looking for a job. But the thing I'm running into is when I put the application in, I get the interview, they ask me, where do you live at? And I go, well, actually, I don't have a place to live. I'm homeless. That's about it. They don't hire me.
Kutch is one of many here getting by with no sanitation or running water. The only real protection from the elements is nylon tents and plastic tarps. Some of the people you'd call the chronic homeless, but not Kutch.
I did not expect to be ending up living out here. I did not. It's a scary thing, actually.
In a nearby tent, Tina Garland has watched the tent city population grow from only 3 people a year ago to over 400 today. Garland was a truck driver, her husband Corvin a car salesman.
It's terrifying because everybody's going to end up out here unless somebody does something. And unfortunately, nobody knows how to fix this. How do you get your house back? How do you get your job back when they're all gone?
Tent cities have sprung up in other localities like Portland and Phoenix, but this one in Sacramento is drawing national attention, much to the chagrin of city leaders. Mayor Kevin Johnson says he can foresee making the tent city permanent, but not on its current site. Sacramento's tent city sits on the windy banks of the American River on the northern edge of downtown. Some residents of this brownstones put wood to make fences around their tents. Others, like Dave Kutch, a welder by trade, came up with an idea he found in a Louis L'Amour novel.
Old cowboys, when they'd go out into the country to get the cows, they would set up windbreaks like that, you know, with the tumbleweeds. But they would go around and collect the tumbleweeds and they'd stab little sticks in the ground to secure it.
Kutch came to California about 7 months ago after running into a patch of bad luck back home in Colorado. He's one of up to 200 homeless people camped here, in his case, for the past 2 months. He says it was kind of quiet until the national media discovered the tent city. Now you can count Kutch among those who have had enough of the wind, the lack of sanitation, and even nosy reporters.
Tell me what we do. I mean, you can go and report all this stuff, and you can go back to your house, be secure, which is cool. You know, you got a job. But the people that lost their homes, like myself, lost my job, what do we do?
The sense of frustration and confusion are palpable here, especially since Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger unveiled a plan to eventually close this encampment and shift about 150 people to a state fairground across town.
We cannot look away and pretend like this does not happen, because it is happening and we must take action. That is why we are doing all we can to do right by the people who are living in these difficult circumstances, these difficult times.
Relocating the tent city's population will cost about $1 million, but it's not clear how many are willing to move to the new shelter, especially since it will remain open only through the end of June. One of the tent city people, Corvin Garland, former car salesman, wonders what happens after that.
Besides, people out here, they're not going to go anywhere where they're going to lock you in. Would you go anywhere where they're going to turn the key and lock you in tonight? No, that's just not going to work at all. I ain't going, and I don't know anybody that is, so.
The job of convincing the skeptical tent city residents to move is left up to Tim Brown, director of Sacramento's Homeless Initiative. He's already started the painstaking task of approaching people one-on-one to try to convince them to leave.
People get that it'll be a place to keep your pet. You can store your camping gear, not lose it. You and your partner can stay together in a private space. People get that.
Homeless advocates are generally supportive of the governor's plan, but they say there are another 1,200 people on the streets of Sacramento not living in the tent city. Joan Burke is a spokeswoman for Loaves and fishes, a local homeless charity.
The concreteness of the tent city and the fact you had so many people in one spot, visibly homeless, spurred action. But it is duplicitous to say this is going to solve the problem of homelessness in Sacramento. 1,200 people don't fit into the 200 or so beds that are being offered.
Back at the tent city, Dave Dahman, a disabled housemaker, says he hasn't decided what he'll do when the tent city is closed. His tent is on a wooden foundation, and his gravel is squat on it. He's got a heater, a battery-powered TV, but